What is the master key to be outstanding in any interview? Welcome to the Scrum ChatRoom with Dr. Francis Mbunya. Today, we're going to talk about what you can do to create that difference in an interview. What actually separates the person who is being called after their interview to like, we're moving on with you, we want to schedule the next interview with you, and someone who is not going to receive a response until after 2 weeks. Sorry, we move on with another candidate. One of the key message or one of the key things interviewers are looking for is how concise you are. I was part of an interview panel, and there is a lady who joined the interview with her phone, but we ended up hiring her. And then I want to share with you what she did that was very outstanding and why everyone really loved her. And even when she came into our organization, we realized within the first 2 weeks, she was able to create the massive difference. Now, the key technique to be effective in interviewing is mastering how to give concise PowerPoint. Now, if you've heard the word PowerPoint presentation, it means that you might be giving a talk of 20 minutes, but you can be able to concisely state that in just 4 or 3 bullet points, and that is enough. So, most of us are mastery of the concept, but the presentation is very poor. I will give 3 different questions, and then I will give you the difference between being a master in answering that question and also being knowledgeable but not answering the question perfectly. The first question I want us to evaluate today is, as a Scrum Master, tell me about your sprint planning, or tell me how you run an effective sprint planning. The first response many people will give is, thank you very much. Before I talk about the spring planning, I want to talk about the backlog refinement. We want to ensure that our backlog is properly refined before we come to our spring planning. When I come to my spring planning, the first thing I do is that I check my agenda. I talk with the PO to ensure that the backlog is prioritized. And then I go with my team over the stories and make sure that my capacity is in place, and make sure that everyone is participating, and make sure that we commit to our goal. Now, this is all right. But what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to convince you that I know what I know, right? And I'm giving you a step by step. Now, I want to give you a master response that is going to separate the first response we had and this other response. How will you run an effective sprint planning? Thank you very much. That's a great question. The purpose of the sprint planning is to ensure that the team is all aligned towards the sprint goal. For sprint planning, there are 3 key things I look up to. The first, mastering capacity, velocity, and load. Secondly, ensuring that everyone is engaged and is participating. And thirdly, I ensure that everyone commit to the goal. For me to throw more light on this, I'll give a scenario of my last spring planning. Now you realize that just with me being so concise and being very clear about what spring planning is, that set me apart. Trust me, even if I don't say anything after this, I don't have to go into detail, talk about the PO is sitting there, I pull up my springboard. That is not needed. When you start going into those details, you've been termed as an amateur, someone who's trying to learn to convince someone. Let's answer the second question. Tell me how you run an effective retrospective meeting. Effective retrospective meeting, I start with my icebreaker, and then I ensure that everyone it's on camera, everyone to participate. And then after, I'm going to go through our last action item to see where we are. And then I will ask everyone to share what they feel went well or did not go well during the sprint planning and all of that. Now, this is correct. This is all what happened during the retrospective. But the goal of the interviewer is not to be part of your retrospective. The goal of the interviewer is to see if you understand what is needed. Now the master responds. Tell me about how you run an effective retrospective. An effective retrospective needs to end up with action items, because the goal of the retrospective is to make sure that we are constantly improving from the feedback we receive during the sprint. For me to ensure that this is effective, I pay attention to effective participation, creating an environment where everyone can participate. Sometimes for me to be able to get everyone in the mode and create a conducive environment, I use icebreaker. But the major and the big thing for me is to ensure that everyone come up or everyone is in alignment and can clearly see why we need to work on improvement items we are working on. My retrospective are like game changers for me, and I start documenting them even from the start of the spring. I don't wait to the last day. In that case, we always have great retrospective with great outcome, no boring meetings. All right. Now, I'm going to stop there for today. How do you get to a point where you know exactly what to say and how to make your response stand out? The difference is in continuous practice. I did not just know this by watching a couple of YouTube videos over years of practice, practice, practice. If you want to get to a point where you become a master, not just in interviewing, but also helping others go through the process, I'm inviting you to join our our rather Agile community, where we're going to help you become a master of what you do. You're not just going to learn a job, you're going to be a master at what you do. Do not forget to like, share, and drop a comment. I'm going to see you in my next video.